Hello to everybody in the wonderful Dynamics 365 and Power Platform community. I'm Dipesh, your host here from Dynamicity, and today we are entering into Dynamics 365 Power Mantra Volume 11, in which we are going to enter a conversation with Olena, our Australian MVP and Power Platform architect. This one is going to be about Dynamics 365, Power Platform, and inclusivity in the Microsoft community. So let's quickly get into the conversation, guys.
Good afternoon, Olena. Hope you are doing really well. Welcome to D365 Power Mantra. And today we
Hi.
are going to talk about your experiences in Dynamics 365 and Power Platform.
Hi, Dipesh. It's afternoon here in Australia. It's morning where you are. I'm very happy to see you, and I'm glad you invited me for this interview.
I am very happy as well, Olena. So let's start with this one, right? Like, what's your current job title, and can you share your social media links right at the start?
Yes. My current job title. This interesting. This can be anything pretty much, because currently I'm independent. So I started my career as an independent consultant 3 weeks ago, and it's all going just fine. So I'm a business owner, group co-organizer, another group co-organizer, and I call myself Power Platform Architect, and I'm still a developer.
That's great. So you have all the hats on you right now. Okay. And do you wish to share the social media links as well?
I've got a blog where I do the professional blogging, and I post some links and articles, and I also have some pages for my groups, which I'm happy to share with you.
Okay, that will be great, Olena. So they are being projected over here right now on the screen anyway. So anybody who wants to follow Olena, you can look at all the links. Now, so you did mention what the change that has happened 3 weeks back, but anyways, how does the average day look like now?
Oh, it's extremely busy. I was wondering how when people are talking about 80 hours per week, I was thinking, oh, okay, so now I'm on 80 hours per week, working really hard, but it's good. It's good to be busy.
Yeah, it's good to be busy. So it is, I really hope this is just towards the start, it is like how it is, and then you will keep growing from there, right? So what different roles or job titles you have done in Dynamics and then Dynamics 365 and Power Platform in the past? What's been your journey on this product suite?
So I started with the product as a Crystal report developer.
Okay.
And it was long time ago. And I was a CRM developer, then Dynamics 365 developer, senior developer, technical architect, solution architect, senior solution architect. Now I'm a developer again.
Okay. No, you just said it's not a developer. You just said it's a group
Power
owner.
platform.
It's
Power
a Power
platform.
Platform architect now. So that's
Yeah,
changed
Power
again, right?
platform architect. I like hands-on stuff. Keep doing, coming back to hands-on stuff.
That's great. So you did mention about crystal reports, Olena. So can you tell the different roles in a bit more detail? So this one is about trying to understand the entire journey, right? So you started from crystal reports developer and all the titles that you had. So how difficult was doing crystal reports compared to what you're doing today? Like, has technology evolved?
I know. The crystal report was interesting. Actually, I was doing reporting all the way, starting from crystals and SSRS and now Power BI. So I like reporting. But before I started with crystals and CRM, I was doing .NET development, and I actually started my career as a .NET developer, even as a web designer first, then a .NET
Oh.
developer.
Okay, so what's the number one product you would want to add to Dynamics 365 and Power Platform, the feature?
Do you know this task recording feature in finance and operations?
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind to have the same for Dynamics 365 C.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Power Platform, what's the number one feature you would want to add?
or the Power Platform. No, I can't answer. I don't know. I think we have so many things coming and going these days, so I don't know even what I would add myself. Like probably, I would probably calm the things. I would just slow down a bit, adding things at this stage because nobody keeps up with the stuff changing.
Right. What is the best tool or solution you have used very recently?
We keep using the XRM toolbox is still #1 because my current project is about photos, and one of my projects is about photos, and it's the photo record mover is a top number plugin from XRM toolbox we use, and yeah, the XRM toolbox is our everything. So
okay, yeah, XRM toolbox is everything for the techies in Dynamics 365. What D365 certifications do you have? Do you try and keep up to date with getting certified? Do you feel they're important?
I tried. I was so proud of myself getting this expert thing, and the next day everything changed again. So I have to start all over again. I don't know how I feel about this. I'm looking forward to do some Power Platform certifications, which are not on a preview beta or something. So yeah, I'll be doing those. But yeah, I'll try to. When it's a big challenge. I've got certified dev from version 3.0, and yeah.
Okay.
And
what's really good about certifications, though, I would like to share is they have evolved. They have case studies in there. They're more practical than the last set of certifications I took. So personally, I'm like certifications only give you the A, B, C, D, and then to write the paragraph or to write the page, you really need the hands-on knowledge, right? But still, these certifications are a lot better than what we have had in the past.
Yeah, I'm also looking at some Azure certifications. I really want to do Azure Architect. That's two certifications.
That's one of the goals I also want to do, like Azure Architect program. I really want to do that as well. Anyways, so yeah, best of luck when you start doing them. They are going to be difficult as usual. So
thanks.
And how do you find how useful is the programming knowledge or programming background for anybody in Dynamics 365 or Power Platform? I mean, evolving into Power Platform.
Look, I'm a dev background, obviously. Like I cannot talk much. Probably if you talk to a functional consultant, you will have different answers. But I would surprise you. I don't think it's essential anymore. But it's not about no coding concepts. It's more about the changing technologies and the really skills people need are listening skills, problem solving, and quick learning skills these days. Because yeah, you can pretty much Google everything or Stack Overflow everything, but what you really have to learn is how to think, how to research, how to combine all the knowledge you find, and basically make decisions based on the information available. So I don't think it's about JavaScript anymore.
So all those things you said, if you are a developer in your past role, that's really helpful, right? Because you learn over time to do all that, right? How to apply the knowledge that you learn from winging it and then putting it to actual solutions, right? Anyways, I have nothing against any functional folks or technical folks, but then there is fear right now. That brings to another question that's being asked so many times. What are the developers going to do in the future? Like, let's say a few years from now, if everything is no code or no code.
I was defining myself as a developer for a long time, then I stopped, and now I define myself as a smart person who can solve problems and can help customers to solve their problems. I still do lots of hands-on dev work. I don't think integration is going anywhere. So that's why Azure, and there are lots of interesting things are going on with Azure. And as I mentioned, yeah, the integration data, migration data, reporting goes nowhere. Still going to be there.
I believe there will be a lot of kind of work evolving into automation scenarios as well. When we try to automate and we go for more complex automation, we are just touching the surface of the iceberg right now. When we go deep diving and the customers start evolving along with the ecosystem, we are going to look at a lot of automations to be done. So you just like Power Automate. So that's going to
Yeah.
do deep diving. So for the developers out there, it's not something that there is always going to be a roadmap for you as well.
Look for the no coding.
To the next set of question, which is this is one is about, do you see yourself not using Dynamics 365 or Power Platform in the future?
Possibly, but not in the near future because I just started something. So maybe another 5 to 10 years, still gonna be something around Microsoft.
That's a
stuff.
lot of time, half a decade to decade. So that's a lot of time. So we are in good hands with Dynamics 365 and Power Platform. And how often do you travel when you in your last set of roles or your current role? How often do you need to travel?
So I tried to limit travel in the past because I had young kids, and now because they're all grown up pretty much, and I've got a teenage daughter, and I've got a grown-up son. So and now I'm independent. So for the current project, pretty much 4 weeks at home and 1 week in Brisbane.
Okay.
There's a fair amount of travel for me,
Yeah.
and I don't expect it to change. Like I don't mind traveling. Yeah.
That's fine. That's completely fine. And what are your hobbies outside Dynamics 365 which you'd like to share with us?
That's interesting. I don't call it hobby. I like calling it projects and ideas, and I'm just screaming. I have another cool ideas. I have idea. I have community projects. I have my girls group. I have labs trainings. I also have some other stuff I do, like jewelry projects or maybe rose growing projects. I've got some roses in the backyard. Or maybe like a new one, like maybe I'm gonna go and get some pilot license or boat selling license. Yeah. So for the I was thinking about getting the pilot license this year. Probably I'm gonna move to the next year, but this year I'm gonna get some sailing license instead.
So in this particular video interview is the first time Microsoft community is going to know that you have more projects outside Dynamics 365 than inside Dynamics 365.
I call them paid and unpaid projects. Probably, that's the interesting thing. They don't have like, there's no low priority projects for me. They all have priority. Right. And yeah, there's many of them.
And I believe they are very important because they are stress busters. So when it's like human, when you're reading so much, you're working so much, you talked about 80-hour weeks. That's a lot of hours, right? So you need your other projects as well, of course. All right. What was the last book you read and what was the last film you watched? Last movie you watched?
For the book, I don't think I'm going to give you a nice, good answer. I don't read motivational books. I don't like motivational books. So I don't. And for the movie, I watched Joker, obviously, but the last movie probably I watched on a plane. I was flying to Europe and back, and there's lots of time. There's lots of flying, so lots of movies. And the one which impressed me was The Intern. It's about busy lady hiring to help her. Like she actually didn't hire him. She was like she didn't want him, and at the end they all became friends. But this busy lady reminds me myself now. So it was interesting.
All right. Okay. Has Dynamics 365 or any of the work that you've done ever got you into trouble with your family or your partner for some reason?
My partner just converted to Dynamics 365 for Power Platform guy recently, so no trouble here. There's lots of kitchen conversations about Power Platform and which Power we're going to be building next. And the last night we were talking about the last Power Lab we run for this year, which is gonna be Christmas Power Ups game. And
Okay.
he just like, oh, you asked me to come up with some concept, and I've got you game design. So it was that's perfect. So yeah, basically this is how it looks like in our family for
Right.
the
So
moment.
this is one of the first times I've seen somebody converting their partner into Dynamics and Power Platform person. So that's
He
great.
always he started he was always a dev tech guy, and he's currently an enterprise architect in Telstra, but he's already 2 days working
Okay.
on my independent projects, and he's very into Power Platform very much. So
That's excellent consulting work to
he
convince.
is actually a portal wizard. I haven't seen that many guys. I myself, I have 10 years experience with ADX portal, almost 10 years experience, and he's beating me, right? And how do I feel about this? I feel good, actually. It's amazing. He's just showing me something. So how did you do this? And he's just like, is it a hack or something? So yeah, he's really good at portals as well.
Okay. That's great to know. So have your friends, so this has happened to me like 3 or 4 years ago, especially on my Facebook account. Has anybody told you to stop talking, tweeting, or blogging on CRM or Power Platform ever?
Try to not mix my personal life and my professional life, and not spam people with some information which is
Yeah,
irrelevant. I ran once in trouble. My best friend, she told me, "You're talking about work all the time." She said, "You're such a career, how do you call this person who is all about career? I don't want to talk to you about anymore. I don't want to chat to you anymore," she said, and I was so shocked. But it was once, yeah, that was once.
So yeah, that's something similar, and I segregated the two things. However, it was interesting to me to see that there are parts of the world, like when I was especially in Asian countries like Singapore and around, which use Facebook as their primary community place, right? Like, so I have
You mean
started.
for work?
No,
They
not for
use it
work,
for
for
work?
sharing their. I mean, there are, instead of LinkedIn groups, they use Facebook pages and groups and stuff like that, and they follow you from.
Interesting.
Yeah, they follow you from Facebook, and it's not working out really great for me right now. So at some point, I'm gonna stop that sharing there. Yeah, it doesn't make sense. I know one of the friends who's going to start all over again on that topic. So. Okay, tell me something interesting or unusual about yourself if you wish to, because this is going to go to the community as well.
I don't I don't have any unusual things. I'm an average person.
So here is an MVP saying they are an average person, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I think that pretty much everything about me is unusual. So yeah, I don't know. It just
Okay.
it's me.
All right. Who is your first D365 expert you remember reading or remember seeing?
Seeing remember this guy, Mitch.
Mitch Millam, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was my top favorite dude. Like I was pretty much like his blog was the place which my Facebook page, like homepage. Yeah, he was
Yeah, I
great
do.
dev blogger.
Yeah, Mitch, there is a lot of JavaScript we have learned. I have learned from Mitch, so there is definitely.
Yeah.
I
So you
still,
know what I'm talking about.
yeah, I know what you're talking about. I think I did get to meet him in the 2015 MVP Summit. It was a great feeling, and yeah, I was using a lot of his articles way back till then because a lot of my role was still technical in nature, very hands-on technical in nature.
It said I'm not gonna meet him at the summit.
Huh?
I'm saying it's sad I'm not gonna meet him at the summit.
Why is that?
Is he still current MVP?
I hope he will come back. I hope at some point he comes back, definitely.
I hope so.
And
The ADX, everything ADX, starting from like 10 years back, the Shane MacArthur and all the portal related stuff.
yeah, Shane is also really great. again, yeah, it was lucky that I got to meet so many, but that was my first summit. I really didn't get to actually spend that much time with everybody, but that's how we evolve, right? Okay, tips for someone who wants to be we need to segregate this. Tips for someone who wants to be a Dynamics 365 expert and tips for someone who wants to be a Power Platform expert.
I think you should just like what you're doing. Yeah, I mean, you eventually become expert if you do stuff all the time. If you keep researching, learning, and you know, being curious about how things work, you will
Right.
eventually become an expert, like
Correct.
in a natural way.
That's a great comment. So for all those guys who you want to be an expert, you just need to keep working on it. That's how we have to keep working on it as well every day. It's not like
Yeah.
someday we have the powers automatically. No, we need to keep learning. We need to keep using unlearning as well, I hope. What are your thoughts about unlearning at this stage?
Unlearning,
Unlearning.
like, you mean stop learning, stop doing things this
Forgetting
way
something,
and studying.
forgetting
Yeah,
something that you have learned in the past, recent
it's
past.
it's funny you mentioned it, because I had this crisis in thinking. It was, this I think it was Microsoft build, that build that they announced, the big announcement of the Power Platform and everything. And I was watching those videos like non-stop for 3 days, and we were all trying to figure out what it's all about and how do I start thinking from now on. And it was challenging. I will tell you something. You decide if you want to cut it or not. But then I was learning Power Apps for a weekend. I started looking at Power Apps. I was crying. I was sitting on my bed and crying because I said, am I too old to learn this shit? because it's a different way you do things, and a different way you think about things, and it's a whole different mindset. Then I did some course for beginners, and everything started pretty clear, and it's cleared. And I think it was a great experience in a way, like of a concentrated learning. Then you try to unprogram your brain to work differently, to start working, thinking differently from this 365 to the Power Platform. And again, I was like a coder, I was very concerned. And I know that people like George Dubinsky, for example, saying, oh, development is for devs. And no coding is not quite working because you still, it works in this bit, you still need an experts for this bit. And I agree, but the whole concept of no coding, which I hated from the beginning, it's different for me now, because it's all about like teaching, like growing this dev mindset for non-dev people. It's very close to the topic of diversity and inclusion, because we think about like technical people, they have to be good with math, they have to do this kind of like things. And I know this. I just met this lady last week, and she was a dancer. She was a salsa dancer. Now she's UX expert. She studied UX, and she figured out there are lots of similarities. Okay, and I bet she's going to be great at it, because she came from a different background. She has some knowledge and experience which she can use and apply to what she does now.
Right. So yeah, I believe like in any role we get into our comfort zones of thinking. So every now and then it's good for our brain to get out of the comfort zone. And it's amazing to know that yes, we can. And believe me, I had a very similar experience with Power Platform when it was all Power Apps. I was not initially a great guy with Flow because I loved workflows. I've utilized them all over for almost a decade. So it makes sense for me to keep loving them, right?
Yeah.
Then you of course evolve and understand why, and you start using them. Yes, I have seen a lot of those experiences. I remember vaguely in Singapore there was a almost 78 or 79-year-old lady which came to our meetup there in Champs, and she was trying to do something with the SharePoint list integrated into Power Platform, and she wanted to move certain data into a another cloud drive, and she wanted to do some BI and camera stuff. And when she was able to hook that all up after a few hours, she was like amazed. And she was a regular at the meetups then. And in the next set of meetups, she really grew. And at that age, so that's
They,
what, yeah.
yeah, we have with Power Labs trainings, we have senior people coming to trainings. We have a couple of regulars with exactly the same thing.
So
They
are
just want, they keep learning. They love technologies, and they just, it's interesting. It's really cool, like to know that
right.
people
So,
don't stop learning, and they're so
and
growing.
And I believe you would have had the same experience with the university kids as well. Like they have also had the same set of learning and attraction. That's where I came to really realize the impact of what citizen developer, and we are basically trying to turn citizens, or we are trying to turn professionals of different people of different ages into kind of dev mindset, which is really the power of this tech. And
In a world where we have a dev shortage, we have a resource shortage, we have skills shortage, we need to find a different sources of skills. And I believe it's different type of skills. We used to some patterns, and we used to think about devs like all these guys from computer science background with the certain way of thinking. But the things are changing, right? And it's probably not quite right anymore, and we need to look at some different the different sources. We need to look at different people and different skill sets. And what's interesting for we had this Dynamics 365 UG Summit was in August, and the same people we're talking to, the users, they realize they're not users anymore. They belong to the community. And the moment that I heard from one lady, she said, the moment I realized I actually belong to the dev community, it was that kind of insightful moment. And she said, like, I was so happy actually. And there were a couple of people telling the same thing. So now they're not just users, they actually participate, and they can use product, and they can convert it, they can change it, and they feel like they're developers, and it's great. I think it's great.
so that, yeah, it's really great. And that really naturally brings me to the next question, your thoughts on inclusivity. So
I already told you everything. We need different people.
did,
It's better for. It's not about even like being good to people things, and it's more being making good money things, right? So we want all this. We want to discover new markets, new opportunities, and all we have to do it through people which are different. They different experiences, different way of thinking, different background, cultural background, gender, anything, you name it. We have to get different people. We include that, not just diversity, right? We can bring those people and they just sit there quietly, or we can just bring these people and get them contribute, add value, and then we include those people. And as you mentioned, these senior guys or younger guys or working moms, not working moms, just moms. I'm worried about saying something not correctly, but the people with different backgrounds.
no, we get the idea. So yeah, we when we speak nowadays, I am also very careful about certain things because it might be taken in the wrong way. But everybody listening to this recording, right? We are just saying that it is all about getting different kinds of people together, trying to get into different kinds of areas, places, backgrounds, and then come up with the greatest possible ideas. I think that's really the evolution of our kind. I am a firm believer of that.
Yeah,
So
in just one more thing. Just remember, one of our regulars for our Power Labs meetups, he is a removalist guy. He is a guy who was doing for 4 years he was doing the removalist job. He had his own truck and he was moving stuff from here to there for people. And now he's data scientist. Okay,
Right.
so I mean,
we don't need to stereotype anybody. That's really
yeah.
it. And very early in my career, somebody told me I will not be a very great developer. This is like 13 years from now. So I
Talk to me about this.
so I might not be the great developer, but I have made somewhere around. So yeah, I'm always saying that you never know. We don't need to knock down people in that sense. That's not correct. Right. So how does it that brings it into another question. So you remember when I was talking to you from Singapore in February or around March that you're going to be part of the family pretty soon. It seems to. We get the vibes, right? In the family, we do get those vibes. So now that you're part of the family, how does it feel? What does it feel like to be an MVP?
It feels different to what I thought it is. I found it interesting that how you guys look like outside and how you guys inside is different. And I talked to Mark Smith a bit about. I just mentioned it to him, and he said it's really interesting. And maybe we can talk about this one day. But the idea of you guys really like hardworking people and really, you know, magically bringing so much value and working closely with the product team to make product better. It's impressive. It's very impressive. I have so much respect to the work you do. I still hate those posts about you know, Wall of Fame, and I've got my MVP renewal award, but it changed a lot. I feel like it's my family, and I really respect what you do, guys. And
And now you're part of the family. So how does it feel like?
I'm keeping doing what I'm doing, and I came with some ideas, and I just got more opportunities to actually I can come to my community lead, to the MVP community lead, Shiva. It's for Australia, and she's great in a way, like she's very open-minded, and you can come with any ideas, and she can bring. The last week we had brainstorming for Microsoft Ignite here in Sydney, and we discussed some. She said, "I've got these crazy ideas. How about implement this? How about this?"
Right.
So it's more like access to like-minded people and more opportunities to work with people who really the same active in community and like changing things or improving things, transforming the space. This is great.
Yeah.
I'm glad I have this opportunity. I'm very grateful for this opportunity.
Yeah, I am always grateful every year. So I will be grateful if it continues on and I'm able to contribute in a new possible way and creating impact. And you have been creating impact, especially I would like to mention the Inclusivity initiative. That's a great one. And whatever you're doing for, I don't really like to call it women in tech. I've been bashed very badly in Singapore with this terminology. Women in tech. So why women in tech specifically? Why not inclusivity in tech? Why to put this terminology? But yeah,
There are reasons for this.
I like the idea. I like the idea of calling it inclusivity rather than calling it words like diversity or women in tech. I feel that this is more open terminology. It's the same, but it gives a broader sense to certain things. However, that's me personally. I'm quoting it. That's my personal comment. That's nothing to do with what Olena is sharing here. But those things are great. What you're doing apart from doing things for the Microsoft community. So this brings to the last question. Do you want to share something about Power Labs?
Maybe I did. We started this 6 months ago, maybe a little bit more than 6 months ago, and it was an idea of just taking how platform talks to the next level, because we used to smart guys standing in front of a crowd and showing some black magic about those new technologies, And what I found with my customers specifically, they're so excited, they're like kids, they're happy, then they can actually build magic themselves. So we thought about this build magic yourself courses, and it's not just a standard Microsoft Power Up in a day. We run this, we call it now experiential education, and we found lots of articles about this. And experiential education, it's about learning through doing, but not just doing like step by step, like a monkey, whatever you have in your list. It's about thinking, it's about analyzing, and it's about like actually making some conclusions, coming to some conclusions, and growing from this. So getting some experience and growing, and then you basically learning and you're growing. And so we try to mix in our labs different technologies. It can be some Azure Cognitive Services and Power Apps, and Flow and Microsoft Form and Power BI. And we do this good mix. We spend just, you would be surprised, we can get people build stuff for an hour, just an hour, and it's all going to be working. And it's amazing. With some people, they were coming and asking questions because people are practical, and they're practical about their time. And they were asking, it's not like a kids stuff, and experiential learning is traditionally it's applied to kids, and it kind of makes sense to apply to adults now. Then the technologists have started freaking out, even the most technical people, because it does it to me. So we started this so I stopped fearing, like having these fears about touching technologies, because they change too often. And it's a good opportunity for us to keep up. And we learn a lot because we build a platform for our students. And it's interesting how different things like look different if you don't have admin access to everything. And it's very interesting. And we will keep going with this idea next year. Hopefully we will try to do some, we will get some kids involved as well. And our first lab will try to get people to bring their kids to lab. They can build power-ups as well.
Right, that should be interesting. That's something I have in mind for India as well. So I really want to go to, rather than getting them and going to some college or university with few hundred kids out there and see how it works out. That's really something that I have for next year on my plan. I'm going to go back to my hometown, to my university, and try this out, how it works out.
It's interesting. I would love to know more about the experience.
Yeah, sure.
I will be watching you.
Sure, and that Power Labs is really great idea. So experiential learning should be something Power Platform seems to be the right product or right technology to get that people involved with. I mean, I can never imagine doing this with the former CRM, right? I cannot get really somebody on CRM screens and I expect them to be able to integrate. Like when I was doing this session at D365 Focus in Brussels a few weeks back, I was doing AI Builder, and people were just amazed to see that the images being identified, and then what we did with it, and scanning the card quotation. There were so many questions because it's practical. It's something they've been trying to do every day, right? And they have not got the right tools with low code or little lesser kind of development skills if they can. So I hope best of luck for Power Labs, and
thank you.
And thank you for honestly taking up all those questions.
Thank you for listening to our Power Mantra for today. If you have any of the needs on Dynamics 365, Power Platform, Azure, PSA, Field Service, or any other related Microsoft technology, even if you just want app development or web portal development, please get in touch with us here at Dynamicity. Remember guys, Power 365 as usual.